Night.
Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome to Horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news for the world of horror. Joining me tonight, while we're still alive, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
Barely. And happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween. Man, it has been a rough few days trying to get this show completed. But we're here, and let's just say there was a lot of behind-the-scenes work to get this one started. Because I started this a few days ago, getting everything ready, dealt with some issues, finally got it perfect. And then today of all days, as soon as we're about to go live, things just slip through the cracks and doesn't work out. And we have to really, really do some patchwork to mend it. And here we are. And man, I don't know if it's a lot to show for it, but there's a lot of stuff here just to get this one off and running. And again, it's going to be an interesting review once we get to it. But yeah, it's our Halloween show. Actually, I think we did a Halloween show last year, so it's nice to do one back-to-back years. I think we did, what was it, Totally Killer or something, Dark Harvest or something last year. So we decided to do something a little different as we do with some of these, and include a sort of under-the-radar Halloween offering that probably not a lot of people know, and a Boneyard to even things out to end the show with. And I think they both work well together in their own right after viewing them. I didn't think they would. I thought they'd be two different films, but you definitely see a lot of similarities in the way that it was filmed and produced and acted. So might as well get into it with our first film. It's a little short, little indie slasher film called Blood Gorge. It is brought to us by, let's see, Victor Gabriel. And as it is, like I said, it's a little short, little slasher film. And we follow a group of friends that want to get together on Halloween, Devil's Night, and just party in a graveyard, basically. They're all sort of just carefree kids. I guess they're sort of beatniks in a sense, where they're just, I wouldn't say low lives, but they're just, just average, teenager, young adults who just want to party, have fun, and get a little wild on Halloween night. And that's what they do. So they meet up with their friend CJ, who works at the local video store. And it's kind of funny to see the video store, because when this was starting production, and it was like right around like the Pope's Exorcist and Fast X was coming out on video. So it's kind of funny to see that on the the poster on the marquee walls, and coming out in the new releases. Like, well, that's when when they're filming. So it's kind of funny, place and time. And so they meet up with CJ. He works there, and I'm not exactly sure the other kids' names. I know Tina gets brought up a lot, um, but they all start planning out like, yeah, we'll be there tomorrow night. We're gonna do things good. I'll close. I'll get there, and we'll all have fun. We'll bring the beer, and we'll just have fun and party. And little do they know that they're soon being stalked by a masked killer, as you can see in the poster. He looks exactly like that, and little white-haired mask. And without giving too much away, that's basically the plot of the film: is they're wanting to party, and there is a masked killer. I mean, it's pretty short, 40-minute watch, and I think it does what it wants to do good. It's just a fun, short little watch. It has some, it's fun. It's a little tongue in cheek. It's a little campy here and there. Again, the acting's serviceable for what it is, and the gore effects are pretty solid. And it's kind of just, some interesting kills as well. Especially, again, the first one's pretty good. The first major kill with the girl in the chair and the hammer in the head. That was a good kill, and how it turns out. And then there's, again, a few more. There's one involving a dildo in the adult section of the video store. And towards the end, there's a pretty interesting implement with it's like an oversized pizza cutter in a sense. I don't really want to give it away, but it has fun, and like the dialogue's very one dimensional, average slasher. It's just kind of reminded me of the short for Tapehead before they turned that into a feature. And it was just like, a simple premise, basic idea of a slasher just stalking people. It was just like interesting kills, decent gore, and it's just a fun little watch. Ian, what's your thoughts? And then we'll go back and forth.
Oh yeah, it was pretty short and sweet. Well, to a degree. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of how to, put it without going into too many spoilers since it's, brand new. I liked the cinematography. It looked pretty nice, especially for a short and, a low budget indie horror. Um, I thought the gore was pretty all right. Uh, Not really much to complain about. They knew what they knew what they wanted to do, and I feel like they accomplished it. It was, you know, it was a pretty all right watch. Uh, when I was looking, I looked it up a little bit, and a lot of people were like very impressed by this, and so when I sat down to watch it, I was pretty excited about to see what everyone was talking about, and I think it lived up to it. Um, Nothing really felt like it dragged out too long. Even like the partying scene, they set it up pretty nicely, and
Yeah, they have some fun with the killer, where he's just like looking at you, especially the
yeah,
tree scene where he's just like, again, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a scene that involves a tree, character at a tree, and just like the way that he looks and just like stares at people and just like, hey,
yeah,
how's it going? It's just like he's like nodding at you, like, yeah, I'm killing this person. What is it? What's it to you? He's
yeah.
just like
You're next.
he's having fun with it, and I think like again, it's not an over exaggerated character. It's simple, just a simple mask. Um, like I said, as I said before, it reminded me of like Tapehead and like how that short was, and then they turned it into a feature. And that's what I kind of felt with this one, where it's like a good start or premise to expound upon later on if they wanted to turn it into a feature. And that's where I'm going to get to my candy analogy, and where it's going to make sense, hopefully to you, Ian, is like it's a good simple snack with a nice sugary coating with its DIY gore. but there's definite room for improvement if they wanted to add more ingredients to turn it into a more tasty feature. So my candy pick would be M&Ms because M&Ms are good, but they're better if they have something with them, like a peanut or peanut butter. So
Yeah.
that's my pick for the snack.
I was thinking of those like I was thinking of like the miniature Milky Ways, the one where it's like you just put the whole thing in your mouth, like
Hmm.
the super tiny ones. It's good, but it's like gone. Like I felt myself like I kind of wanted a little more. I know it probably wouldn't have. It would have probably ended up falling apart, but I just enjoyed it so much. I was like, I want more of this. I know I can't, but you know,
Yeah, and they don't really play up most of the Halloween aspect either. I mean, you get a few shots here and there, and it's just like a bunch of talk, like, oh, this is Halloween night, and like it could have been, it could have not been. It's just there for cause and effect, because it does take place in the woods, most of it,
yeah,
and so it doesn't really feel Halloween, but it is based around Halloween. So it's
yeah,
nothing too grand on that aspect, but it's still, like I said, it's enjoyable for what it is. I mean, it's short, quick watch. You're in, you're out, and you have some interesting kills and some funny moments, and it's perfectly serviceable. It's like that was not bad. That was a good. Like I could see myself watching that. Again, with a like again, if me and you watched it, like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do that again. Let's put that one on. Another year, but it's fun. It sets out what it wanted to accomplish, and again, if there's more room on the bone, they can continue on, like add more to it, make it a feature, like revamp the story maybe a little bit. Um,
yeah,
so that there's definitely room for improvement, and that again, and if they wanted to turn it or just continue on with that character in general, just what it is, what is, whatever you want to do with it, whatever the director's intentions would be for the film, the project, and there's definitely a lot of stuff you can get away with, and like especially towards the end with that oversized pizza cutter, like is a that's a killing weapon, if there ever was one. I mean, you kind of want to see that one more into play if they go later on into the film, if they elaborate more on the story, because like I kind of want to see more of that. You kind of want to see
yeah.
someone get split in half up the middle.
Yeah, no, like I think even if they, I mean, it's already 40 minutes. You know, to make a feature length, they needed add what 50. So
Not really. I mean, you just need to add like 20 because it's 40. Like make it 70 minutes. You're good.
yeah,
Just add extra 20 minutes. Maybe 25, and you would have yourself, just like flesh out like more of the reasoning because it's there, but it's just kind of, it's pretty obvious. Like there's not that many other characters that show up in the movie, so it's fairly
yeah,
obvious. Um, but like you're just kind of wondering the intentions. So maybe elaborate a little bit more upon that, and just like again, like go a little bit more. Like they did that with some of the kills, like the dildo scene. Um, but they could have done a little bit more, just expand upon some of the kills towards the later act of the film when he's chasing them down on the farm with the haunted house there. Um, but again, like I said, it wasn't terrible, and it was fun, and it
yeah,
knew exactly what it wanted to be, and I think it accomplished that. And there's obvious room for improvement, and make it a little bit, again, it's already gory, but like you can actually make it a little bit more, with especially with that weapon at the end. So I'm interested in see if they do anything more with it, or if this is just a one off. So nonetheless, I'm looking for it, and it's from who's the company? RFN RFP Productions or something like that. So they're a budding company, so or film crew. So I'm interested in see where Victor goes from here.
oh yeah, definitely. I think it was a really well, done movie, well short, and if they wanted to add more to it, I think they could do it. Um, just, add a couple extra kills and, a little bit more, elaborate a little bit more on the backstory of why. Um, like you said, like the reasoning was kind of just like kind of quick,
Yeah.
and I felt like that was one thing, like that's why I chose the miniature Milky Way. I just felt like, you know, it was like it needed to be drawn out just a tiny bit, just so, I, get more in depth to the characters and thing. But I mean, the killer was great. I liked it. He had a nice attitude. He didn't have to do a shit ton of like one-liners. Uh, he just his presence just was great, and I thought the guy who played the killer did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also like that they threw in the little tidbit of how he picked the mask. Just okay, and grabbed it and ran off with it. And I was just like, that's what I like. I like when they, try to have a little fun with it, even if it is like a semi-serious movie. I still felt like they, you know, actually put their best foot forward in this. So, but that's all I have to say for this. So,
Yeah. There's not really much else to say because again, it's only 40 minutes and there's not a lot of meat on the bone without spoiling things. And I kind of don't want to do that. Um, Again, I don't know. I mean, it is on YouTube, but I think it's again, it says that it's unlisted. So maybe we'll have to put the link in the description of this review so people can check it out for themselves. Um, if not, for Halloween, just watch it in general. I watched a Christmas movie recently. I didn't even know it was a Christmas movie when I watched it. Like, that's cool, Christmas movie and Halloween. So you never know. But yeah, that's really all I have to say on Blood Gorge. It's fun. It's a decent watch, short watch, and I'm interested to see if they do more with the project. So hopefully they continue on with it and elaborate a little bit more, give it some more depth, and see what turns out. Because you always start somewhere. It's like again, like I said, the analogy with Tapehead. Like they started out with a short, and then they turned that into a feature and elaborated more on it. So, I mean, I know the story's not as out there as Tapehead, with the killer in that
oh,
film.
definitely not.
But still, with the haunted VCR, VHS player and everything like that. Um, VCR, not bad. People say, "Oh, it's VHS, VCR." It's the same thing. Um, but still, like I'm interested in to see where they go with it, and we will probably leave a link in the description so people can view it themselves because I do think it's unlisted unless you search for it on YouTube. And again, I don't even know how I came across it. I literally have no idea. It just came Blood Gorge. Like, all right. Um, but I guess that's going to do it for that review. And we'll go on to our next one, which is our special review from the Boneyard. And I can tell you, man, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, this one, this one took a while to get to, because I started dealing with this one a couple days ago over the weekend, and everything was going good. And then I got to the second part, and then YouTube took it down. And so obviously, if they took it down, again, I don't know these things when I upload them. So like, okay, so there's nudity. All right, woohoo! YouTube took it down. A lady can go on there and breastfeed without any problems, but two girls in a shower, too much. Um, Anywhere, you can just type in a lot of stuff now. It's out there for the world on the internet for the world to see. But two girls just putting water on each other in a shower. That's the world's coming to an end apparently for the internet. Um, but nonetheless, I finally got it to working, and like again, as I said, everything was good last night. Everything started to go haywire today, and then like a couple hours before we started to do this review, and again, we had to work with it, made it happen, and finally we got She Devils a Go Go to work, and this is from Old School Cinema, from director Darren McDonald. and he also produced. Well, again, his company produced a couple of low budget indie stuff. Um, this one's like, again, they did 2 Halloween films, and I was picking and choosing which one I wanted to go with for this one. So there's She Devils a Go Go and The Spook Show, which is an anthology film. They're both around the same length, and I wanted to watch this one. I showed the other one all the hell it's just taken. And they also did uh, Horror Convention Massacre 1 and 2, which I like part 1. Part 2 is a little iffy, but part 1's pretty fun. It's better than a lot of the other convention movies, like Texas Frightmare Massacre wasn't very good. But I liked Horror Convention Massacre. I think they filmed that around Cinema Wasteland, somewhere in that area. And so the general plot of She Devils a Go Go is there's these close friends, these 4 guys, and they're all, the film calls them douchebags. Each one's a douchebag in their own way. We have
Very much
Tim,
so.
Jim, Tim, Jim, Hot Carl, and Jimmy, Jimmy Coffin. And they're all at this bar, they're drinking, they're partying, it's Halloween night, and they're just shooting the shit, having a fun time. And they just want to pick up chicks and drink and party. And Jim, played by Jim Roberts, who's we reviewed on this show before. He's the director of Welcome to Deer Creek, and he also did a bunch of other stuff as well. But like, if you haven't seen Welcome to Deer Creek, it's like one of the very early Boneyards that we did. So like he's done a lot of indie films, and he's acted in a bunch of low budget stuff. This is one of them. And so like he's dressed up as Spock, and he's like dumped his girlfriend, and he's like down in the dumps because like, I'm single, I don't know what to do. I should call her, maybe she's alone. He's conflicted because he's single and he don't know if he wants to go to his girlfriend or his ex, and the guys are telling him, no, fuck that bitch. You need to get your dick wet with someone else. They're just having a fun time. Hot Carl is the goofy, fat dumb guy in a sense that just thinks with his cock, and he has a lot of fun one-liners. And again, they just like party, and like they try to pick up some chicks. They're doing stupid one-liners that don't work anymore, trying to pick up girls. Or like the are you a parking ticket because you have fine all over you? There's just did you fall from heaven? Stuff like that you do it. You see the tropes that guys do at bars. And so they find this flyer on the wall of the bar called She Devils a Go Go, and they decide to go over there, and then they meet up with another guy who's talking, and they all go into the party. He's talking to these 2 girls who start the film killing this other guy and put him in a trash can. And so basically he invites they have a party to go to, but then they come back to his house, and then the 4 guys go back to his house, and then the 2 girls show up, the She Devils, and basically they start having fun, doing all kinds of things like that, and then the She Devils starts killing off all the guys. It's pretty basic in its plot. And overall, it's an okay watch. It kind of reminded me, Ian, I don't know if you got this, of sort of the attitude of like Holy Shit Man, where it was just a bunch of people coming together and just having fun. The idea is, it's fine and fun, and they're just having fun with it, and it's kind of stupid and kind of dumb and crude in its nature, but you can see it in like a group setting. People would have fun with it. It's not the strongest film. There is just a bunch of goofball conversations, and then occasionally you get the She Devil coming along and killing somebody. There's a castration later on in the film. Just some like stabbings. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. It's cheap and crude, like I said, but it's still a decent watch for what it is. I mean, like I said, how both of them, this and Blood Gorge, they're just that DIY fuck it attitude. Just like have fun with it and make something fun and stupid. And that's what I felt like. Again, they're having fun making a slasher movie, and this one's technically a slasher movie with two women. Um, and it's not bad. It's an okay watch. It doesn't exactly do much in that sense like Blood Gorge did. I mean, there's some okay, again, there's like both movies have like intestines being ripped out, and chewed on. Well, they're chewing on them in this one, but they're just having fun killing, dudes, like, and again, none of them are that good. They're just douchebags, as you said. Like, who cares? They're douchebags, and they're just murdering away, and it's fine. It's another serviceable watch. It's short to the point. Um, doesn't really overstay its welcome. It's not the strongest ending, but it has its moments. But Ian, I'll let you give your thoughts, and then we'll go back and forth again.
Yeah, this movie was a tad ridiculous. Um, the the crude humor of like like my big my big dick, like you like it. I'm the total package. That crap was just killing me.
I got a Woody. I took some Viagra.
Yeah, no, like I really felt like compared to the other one, um, there was some parts that I felt dragged on a little too much. Um, I did like the overall uh, premise of the movie. I felt like they also knew what they wanted to do with, and and actually did it. Unlike some of the other movies we've watched, um, where they just threw shit at the wall. Uh, I felt like it wasn't overly complex. Just a bunch of horny dudes trying to get something, and
It's sort of like
they just
that.
happened to go for the wrong one.
Yeah, it's sort of like that's the first segment in VHS with the siren. Like
Yeah.
they go to the bar and they meet up with the I like you, and it just gets worse from there. And this one, it's sort of like that. They're just sort of douchebags and having fun, making stupid quips and jokes about each other. Just like that dude humor. Always about cock and balls and sex and just that camaraderie. Like the camaraderie is definitely more. That bromance in a way is more better construed in this one than it was in Blood Gorge. Blood Gorge just felt like there was like just randomness. Like there's no, the friends weren't like they just hang out together. It's sort of like Island Pines where they just hung out together occasionally, once a year, and like they just like were like it wasn't as you know not as this one was where it's just like just dudes being dudes. It's like there's a lot of what the I'm looking for free, being free and just like um, not being constrained to a script. A lot of improv in this
Oh
one. It
yeah.
felt like, and it definitely showed, especially with Carl. It
Yeah,
just
he
seemed like
was very
like
improvised. You could
yeah,
tell, like, because sometimes his lines were funny, and sometimes it felt like it just came. It was the first thing he thought of, and they were like, "Let's just go with it."
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, this is one of those movies that you definitely. It's better to watch with people, um, and maybe have a couple of drinks or something, because it. I mean, the movie is very potty humor. Um, it has, you know, a new shower scene that caused us an immense amount of grief. Um, and you know, So yeah, it was just these people where it just felt like these were just actual friends, you know, playing friends. And so the chemistry was there. Everybody, busting each other's balls and, you know, going to shows and stuff. Like, that all felt, you know, like I actually, like, started feeling a little for the characters. Um, which is, kind of what I wanted from the other movie a little bit more, was like more of why we should care about these characters.
Yeah, they were just one-dimensional, forgettable characters. It's just like, oh, I want to party. I want to do this. We need to go here. Go to the
Yeah.
graveyard. Talk about this. Just like, let's get high. Let's drink. Let's party. It was just one-dimensional, straightforward, and just like you kind of just like, yeah, kill him. I don't care. This
No,
one, like
exactly.
again, you kind of get. I mean, he's a douchebag, but you kind of like get attached to Carl because he's stupid. He's that lovable fat guy, of the group. Where you're just like, I don't know why I hang with you, but I guess there's a reason, just that friend. And then, of course, Jim with his conflicts with his ex and all that stuff. And there's just that, bromance that you would have with a group of friends when you're close by. This is probably, if me and you and we hung out somewhere, we'd probably have that and bust each other's balls, because, bring up things and like scoff at each other and like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that, or bring up like these stupid movies we review and like, oh God, you remember that? And everyone's looking at us like, you guys are crazy. And like, I can't help if we watched a movie about a tree raping people. What that's normal. know, that's a Saturday night. Um, but it just felt like it's something like me and you would be. People looking at us like you're the crazy, but we like hanging out with you because you bring up these weird random conversations we don't know where they're going, and that's sort of how the show is sometimes with these films. But it is just like I said, it's a fine watch. You just have to know what you're getting in for. It's very crude, potty humor. Like I said, like the Holy Shit Man, or there was another one I was thinking of we reviewed that involved a lot of fecal matter or poop, but Holy Shit Man definitely takes the cake on it. And then it comes down to
Dirty Sanchez.
Dirty Sanchez, and then yeah, definitely Dirty Sanchez, or what was the other one he did? Leaf Blower Massacre 2. Very something similar to that. Um, and so when it comes to the candy that I chose, this one I was going back and forth, but then it dawned on me. But again, I don't know how many people give this out during Halloween, but it's the only one that made sense to me. Um, so again, it's a mixed bag of reactions with its taste. It starts off bitter, and in a group setting, it's fun to see other people's reactions. Some might enjoy it, while others find it unpleasant. It manages to hit a sweet stride, but fizzles at the end. So I picked Warheads.
That's what I was thinking you were going with. I I was actually just thinking bottle caps.
Mm,
I wanted to be different. Um, yeah, I think that would be like, you don't see it very often. Um, you might forget about them until they're there, and they're while some people like all the flavors, I am not a big fan of root beer. And there's a root beer cap, and every once in a while, because I always used to try to eat them in the dark, and I would get one, and I would have a very terrible time. Uh, and that's why I felt like and I was thinking of that because there's barely any in there, and I was like, there was a couple things in the movie that I just was like not a huge fan of, um, and it was mostly just like that forced crude humor, where it
yeah,
was just like you could tell, like it was just like it was supposed to be funny, but the joke was falling flat.
yeah, it didn't land.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, because most part of it was fairly enjoyable, and you know, it's got multitude of different flavors in it, and just like the movie had a flair of different aspects, and I was like, this was a had a lot of aesthetically pleasing, like the concert scene, especially like the explosions and stuff like that. I really enjoyed a lot of what this movie had to offer. It's just there was just some of those jokes were like, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I guess you didn't really need much of a backstory on the she devils either. Even though I don't know if they're actually devils. They're just two killer women. Just even though they have their own club.
Honestly, yeah, and I like that kind of mystery too, because sometimes, we talked about this when we reviewed Quiet Place, is that we don't really need to know where they come from to enjoy, the creatures and
Mhm.
all that. And I felt like that too. I was like, I didn't find myself like, I wonder, like I did wonder if they were actually like demons, or if, because they kept popping up really quick. Or at least everybody was saying that they were popping up pretty fast. And I was like, okay, are they demons or are they just murderous women? I don't care either way. They're hot.
Yeah, they enjoy what they do and they just want to do it. But yeah, it's like again, if you like that like crudeness or just like that, you know, just potty humor, or, dick jokes. There's another movie called Jagoff Massacre, which is sort of similar to this, where it's just, but it's like in Massachusetts, set in Boston, Massachusetts, and it's just like two random dudes, and like all the jokes kind of don't work unless you're like from the area, and like at least it didn't really kind of fall into that realm where it's just like two dudes doing Boston accents going around acting stupid, just getting caught up in a cult. This one was like it made sense, for the drunk guys to party and want to bang chicks, and it just did not work. And again, it had some fun moments again with some of the kills, and like I said, it fizzles out a little at the end as well. Like you get the castration and the intestines being ripped out and some other stuff like here and there, but like it's not like the strongest stuff in the world for a low budget indie. Um, and it just doesn't really go out with a bang. It fizzles, and it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could have done a little bit more there to conclude the film with its finale. But it's just again, it's fine for what it is. Um, but again, it's not for everybody. It is very very low budget. This is definitely more indie. I mean, they're both indie. Don't get me wrong, and they both. But this is definitely if you like that, just like party um, camaraderie sort of stuff, bromance party setting, more so than Blood Gorge. Blood Gorge is just one dimensional. This one there's more character and but it's more partying, So if you don't like the whole party anesthetic, you're probably not gonna get you know enjoy it as much by yourself. But again, as for the film itself, I mean it is fairly hard to come by. I mean, pretty much all the old school cinema stuff is hard to come by. She Devils, Spook Show, and both horror convention massacres are pretty rare. You might be able to find them occasionally on eBay. I mean, I did with all of them, and you just have to be at the right place at the right time. And again, that's the reason I wanted to include another Boneyard for this marathon,
Yeah.
um, because we always like to throw something else in there that's under the radar. And again, given the fact that both were short, it equaled like a feature. So why not do two instead of one? And I think it was a good pairing because they both worked well with each other. Um, and I do, again, as it comes to, do you have any final thoughts on this one, Ian, before we get to the main thing, and that's trying to rank these? Any final thoughts?
None that I can think of. That won't be just me chasing my tail.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Now, let me try to think here how I would rank these because we have two films that are exactly the same that we started this thing off with. Um, let me think here. Let me think. I would have to go Hayride to Hell as the last choice. Then Island Pines. Uh, uh, then I would probably do She Devils and Blood Gorge. Now, you know what? I'm putting Carved third. Then She Devils and Blood Gorge together because they both make sense. And I'm gonna go Creeping Death as number one. So it would be, yeah, that's my ranking.
I need to think about mine. uh, She Devils definitely won't be last. Hayride to Hell is pretty low too. Card. I think I would put Creeping Death as number one as well, followed by Carved. I'll put Blood Gorge as 3, Island Pines at 5, and or 4. I'm so out of it. I'm gonna and Hayride to Hell would be last, just because of how.
Yeah, that one was just no.
Just boring. It was a boring movie.
And look at and again, compare it to these two, that we were reviewing tonight.
Oh no, definitely.
You put all that effort into that, and like these went out there with no budget whatsoever, and managed to do again, one from 2011 and one from this year, and like again, just like had fun with it. At least these were fun and like stupid, and like Hayride to Hell had nothing except for name recognition, and they just did not do anything with it.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm leaving it toward where I'm concluding both of them as one because it makes sense to watch them together in my head. So that's the reason they're number two. But again, like Carved is decent for what it is. Again, I just wish it did a little bit more with it. I pretty much got what I wanted out of She Devils and Blood Gorge more than I got out of Carved. I mean, it was cool to see Carved, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't do much. And again, Creeping Death is the better of the two, that and Island Pines. So that's the reason Island Pines is way down there because Creeping Death did it better. And yeah, I think that makes a decent, better than. I mean, we got a few bad apples in there, but nothing too bad, So it was a decent marathon, I think. We went all over the place, but that's what you want when you have you reach in and pull out a handful of candy. You never know. And again, I thought it was a decent little marathon. And our next big marathon is in December, so it's going to be our next ranking. We got a bunch of stuff coming up that, again, more behind the scenes things for the show. A few interesting ideas. One that's coming up towards the later end of November. It's going to be a special show. Ian doesn't know anything about it, but he'll know when it comes into play when I start bringing it up. I'm definitely going to start working. I know that's not going to give us any problems. I know for a fact that won't give us any problems. And then whatever else comes in through November, we might do a new film. We might throw something in there. It's pretty free flowing as it is right now, but there definitely is one major thing I want to do that next month, and I'm looking forward to it. And I've enjoyed this marathon, and besides the hell that was She Devils and trying to get it ready for tonight, that was so many frustrations that I wanted to put my hand through a wall. But we got it done. Even when I was finished with it, it just like continued on through Ian's side. Like, yep, that's hell. But But I'm looking forward to what we have planned. And again, the Halloween grab bag marathon is tied up into a knot until next year. And Ian, what's your thoughts? And then we'll conclude this episode and call it a marathon.
No, like I really enjoyed this little Halloween marathon. We've definitely had, some terrible candy, last couple years. So I felt like this one was the better one that we've had in a little bit. Definitely a little better than the werewolf marathon. But but I really did enjoy this little marathon that we did, and I'm looking forward to the surprise that's next month. And I can't wait to see what shitty holiday movies we watch in December.
Yeah, we got to get at least one Thanksgiving movie in there. So that's towards the end of the month of November.
Yeah.
We'll throw something in there. There's a few, but we'll throw something else in there towards the end of the month. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this year's Halloween Grab Bag Marathon. Hopefully, you've all enjoyed it, and especially this one with the Boneyard. And again, I have to get the link for Blood Gorge and include it with the synopsis of this video, so those interested can check it out themselves, give us their thoughts on it. We'd love to hear back on that one, get some more traction to that one, because it is under the radar still. It's very, again, I don't know. Again, like I said, I have no idea how I came across it. I just did. And we need to get that out there for more people interested to get, see if, like, hey, tell them, Horror Oasis sent you, they gave us the review. Get them to check us out, check it out, the film, and all that fun stuff. And again, it's always fun doing these marathons. Again, this one, as you said, was better than the werewolf, the Fall of Beast Feast. That one was rough, but it was definitely much better. This was much better than that. That was just rough. That was, as a wolf, it was rough. But I'm going to conclude this marathon. So we thanks everyone for listening. And we're looking forward to bringing you more interesting and more interesting reviews and specials during November through December with our Christmas marathon and what 2025 might hold. There's some ideas brewing, some more specials that I have concocted. And again, hopefully things work out that way. Again, life does happen to get in the way occasionally, but
Yeah,
I'm happy that this month went on without a hitch, and hopefully we can continue that on till the end of the year. And Ian, as always, it's great talking with you, my buddy, my friend, and we will see everyone next time for another episode of Horror Night Oasis. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.